What's up, everyone? TJ Hernandez here with RosterCoach.com, and this is the Week 15 GPP Value Report, where each week I go through all of the featured contests on the main slate for both FanDuel and DraftKings to help you out with your game selection by looking at the payout structure of all of these games. And as we always do, I'm going to be starting off with the featured contests on FanDuel up to the $10 level. Now, last week, FanDuel did add a big championship game, and that is back this week, so we see some smaller prizes than we're been accustomed to the last few weeks. The one that we see every week that everyone is chasing up top is the 1.2 Sunday Million. That's down from 1.3 last week, and with that price of still $250,000 up top, that means that we see a bigger chunk of money going to first place than we saw last week. Also just a 1.43 times a minimum multiplier. So a pretty steep payout structure in that one with not much reward just for cashing. A couple other contests that are awarding at least $10,000 to first place. We have the $50,000 snap at the $4.44 level, the $175,000 rush, which is awarding $30,000 up top, and the spike at the $5 level, awarding $10,000 up top. Of those contests, the snap at the $4.44 level is the only game paying out at least 20% of the field, 21% of the field being paid out, in fact, but 20% of that money is going to first place, and you win less than double your money if you min cash in that game. Games that stand out as flatter payout structures, we have the snap at the $3 level, $5,000 up top with a total prize pool of $60,000, but 23% of the field is being paid out with less than 9% of the money going to first place. And then the pancake block at the 25-cent level, paying out almost 24% of the field, less than 6% of the money is going to first place, but that rate is up at 16.5%, so definitely want to take that into account. Moving on to games priced above the $10 level on FanDuel, that championship that I mentioned, the Encore this week, is a $1.25 million prize pool, $300,000 going to first place. Last week we saw a $1 million first place prize. That's at the $250 buy-in level. 20% of the field's being paid in that one, but 24% of the money is going to first place. A couple other contests with notable first place prizes. We have the Bomb at the $33 level with $100,000 up top out of a $400,000 prize pool. So that means 25% of the money is allocated to first in that one, and less than 20% of the field is being paid. And then we have the Monster at the $444 level, and that is probably the steepest contest that we see of all of the games on FanDuel, at least on the featured slate. 18% of the field is being paid, a third of the money going to first place. So really shooting for the stars if you play that contest. At these higher stakes, some games that stand out as somewhat flatter payout structures that kick off at the $12 level is paying out just under 24% of the field with 18% of the money going to first. The onside kick at the $15 level, 21% of the field being paid with 13% of the money going to first, but just $2,000 up top in that one. The spin move, which is a single entry contest at the $35 level, paying out 22% of the field, but just $3,000 up top there. Of course, once we get up to that $50 level, as I always mention, you do get a pretty significant rake drop, and that rake gets smaller as you move up in stakes. So definitely pay attention to that if you are between a couple of contests that you might want to play that are relatively close in buy-in levels. On DraftKings this week, there's a new contest, which is kind of like a championship, and then a couple of the regular tournaments have been turned into championships, so bigger prize pools in some of these games, which means some contests have been eliminated at least for this week, while others have a pretty significantly lower prize pool than we might be used to. So starting at these smaller stakes, the play action at the $3 level remains the same, $50,000 first place prize with a $1 million prize pool. 27% of the field is being paid in that one. The post pattern at the $8 level, slight drop in total prize pool, $225,000 prize pool with $30,000 going to first. A couple other contests at these lower stakes games with at least $10,000 up top. We have the Cover 4 Championship at the $4 level, which has been a pretty significantly smaller contest, but bigger prize pool, which is why they're calling it the championship. A 3-max game awarding $10,000 to first about 26% of the field being paid in that one. First place prize accounting just for 5% of the prize pool, but almost 60,000 people in that contest. And then we have the fair catch at the $12 level. That is a single entry contest with $10,000 up top. Of these games priced up to the $12 level, this is the contest paying out the smallest percentage of the field. Barely 23% of the field is being paid in that one. If you're looking for these flatter payout structures, pretty much anything between the $1 and the $4 level, you're going to get about 26%, 27% of the field being paid, save 1 or 2 games, with no more than 5% of the money going to first place. So unless you're just looking to play a really small field, probably opting for something in the middle here with a little bit of upside and flat payout structure like that Cover 4 championship I mentioned. And finally, looking at games priced $20 and above on DraftKings. Of course, the Millionaire, same structure we've seen at least last week, $3 million prize pool, which means a third of the money is going to first, just 22% of the field being paid at that one. So obviously always a really steep structure there. I mentioned a couple championship games that have been added. The 3 Max Championship is the big one. A $1 million prize pool, $555 buy-in with $150,000 going to first place. 23% of the field is being paid in that one, so about the same as the Millionaire. 15% of the money going to first place. So really big upside in that one, but again, a pretty steep payout structure. Some other notable first place prizes up here. The Power Sweep is $30,000 up top, $250,000 prize pool. 24% of the field's being paid in that one. And then the Wildcat, which is usually at least $1 million prize pool with these other championships this week. The Wildcat is only a $200,000 prize pool, but if you're somebody that's playing in the price range, it does give you a chance to attack this contest with a much smaller field. Just under 700 entries in this one, but you still got a chance to turn your $333 into 30 grand. 24% of the field being paid, about 15% of the money going to first place. So pretty decent structure there. The only contests paying out more than a quarter of the field are the goal line at the $75 level, paying out 27%, but there's only $3,000 up top in that one. The touchdown at the $200 level, paying out 25% of the field, but just $4,000 to first place in that one. The one that is pretty interesting is the check down pass. It's a single entry contest at the $777 buy-in level. 26% of the field is being paid, a chance to win $10,000 with just 57 entries. So pretty rare that you're going to see a contest of that size with at least a pretty decent structure. Still a lot of money going to first, but a lot of the field being paid out relative to some of these other tournaments. So really small field could take that down with as easy as a cash game lineup. So that game's pretty interesting. And of course, you do get that rake drop. So those are the games that stand out to me this week. As always, if you have any questions about any games, hit me up here or on Twitter at TJ Hernandez. And again, this is TJ Hernandez with RosterCoach.com. Thank you for watching.